All right, today we're tackling a really cool economic mystery, one that kind of flips what you'd expect on its head. It's all about this huge ongoing battle between humans and machines, between our work and the technology that's supposed to make it obsolete. So let me ask you this. As machines get smarter and technology just keeps getting crazier, we're talking everything from the steam engine all the way up to today's AI, what do you think happens to the value of human work? Does the slice of the economic pie going to actual people get bigger or smaller compared to the slice that goes to the owners of, well, all the stuff, the capital, the machines, the buildings, the software? Now, your gut feeling, I'm guessing, is that labor share has got to shrink, right? I mean, it just makes sense. The more we automate, the less we need people. But, and this is the big twist, when economists dug into the data looking at over 100 years of history, they found something that just didn't add up. The split between labor and capital, it wasn't really changing. It was shockingly stable. That right there, that stability, is the puzzle we're going to solve today. Yeah, this discovery was a real head-scratcher for economists. It became famous for this one simple persistent ratio, the 70-30 split. So, picture this. It's the 1950s, 1960s. Researchers are crunching the numbers on national income, and they keep seeing the same thing over and over. Year after year, decade after decade, it was like clockwork. About 70% of all the money a country made went to people. Wages, salaries, benefits. And the other 30%? That went to capital. Things like profits for the owners, interest on investments. And that's what was so wild about it. Just think about the world-changing tech that came out between, say, 1900 and 1960. We're talking cars, electricity, the assembly line, the whole shebang. And through all of that upheaval, this basic economic split just didn't budge. It made no sense. How was that even possible? So the story goes, one of these economists, totally stumped and holding all this confusing data, went to a mathematician for help. He basically just spread it all out and said, look, here's my data. What kind of math, what kind of formula could possibly explain this? How can labor and capital stay in this perfect balance? The answer he got? Well, it ended up changing the entire field of macroeconomics. And that answer came in the form of this really elegant formula called the Cobb-Douglas production function. Honestly, the easiest way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like a recipe, but for an entire economy. So let's grade down the ingredients. First up, we've got Y for output. This is the finished dish, right? It's the total economic pie. Every single thing a country produces in a year. All the cars, the apps, the lattes, you name it. Okay, next ingredient, L for labor. This one's super simple. It's just us. All the work people do, the hours we clock in, the smarts we bring to the job, totally essential. And our other key ingredient is K for capital. And yes, it's a K because the word comes from the German capital. Fun little fact for you. This is all the non-human stuff. Think factories, computers, robots, even the building you're in, all the tools that help us make things. And last but not least, we have A for technology. Now, this one's a little different. It's not really an ingredient. It's more like the quality of your kitchen. How good is your oven? How sharp are your knives? It's a measure of your overall efficiency. It's a multiplier that basically says better tech lets you get way more output from the exact same amount of people and tools. Okay, so here's how you put the recipe together. You've got your total output, Y. That equals your technology level, A, times your labor and your capital. But, and this is super important, you don't just add L and K together. See those little numbers, alpha and beta? Labor and capital are each raised to one of those powers. Think of alpha and beta as like the secret sauce in the recipe. They're dials that control just how important labor and capital are to the final outcome. And these little numbers are the key to everything. So this formula lets us ask a really fundamental question about growth. Economists call it returns to scale, but it's pretty simple, really. What happens when you double your ingredients? If you put in twice the labor and twice the capital, what happens to your total output? Well, there are basically three ways this can go. You might get more than double the output. That's called increasing returns. You could get exactly double the output. We call that constant returns. Or you might get less than double back, which is, you guessed it, decreasing returns. And figuring out which one of these scenarios you're in is actually shockingly simple. All you have to do is go back to those two little secret sauce numbers, alpha and beta, and just add them together. It's this simple. If alpha and beta add up to more than 1, you've got increasing returns. If they add up to less than 1, you've got decreasing returns. But if they add up to exactly 1, you get constant returns. That's the sweet spot where doubling your inputs gives you exactly double your output. It's perfect, balanced scaling. And that number, the number 1, is the magic number here. It's this idea, constant returns to scale. That is the key that unlocks our whole mystery. It's the mathematical reason why that 70-30 split could stay so incredibly stable for so long, even while the economy was absolutely exploding in size.
Okay, to make sure this really clicks, let's walk through 2 quick scenarios. We'll put a constant returns economy head-to-head with an increasing returns one.
All right, first up, our constant returns world. Let's imagine our alpha for labor is 0.5, and our beta for capital is also 0.5. Add them up, you get exactly 1. Perfect. So if we plug in 100 units of labor and 100 units of capital, the math tells us we get 100 units of output. Simple enough? Okay, now for the real test. Let's double both of our inputs to 200. We run the numbers through the formula, and what do you know? We get exactly 200 units of output. We doubled the ingredients, we got double the pie. That is a perfect picture of constant returns to scale. But now let's check out scenario 2, increasing returns. We'll just tweak one thing. Let's bump the exponent for capital up to 0.7. So now alpha plus beta equals 1.2, which is greater than 1. Right away, you can see that with the same 100 units of labor and capital, our output is already way higher. But the real magic happens when we double the inputs. And this chart just makes it so clear. When we doubled our inputs in the constant returns model, our output doubled, a 2x increase. But in the increasing returns model, whoa, the output shoots up by about 2.3 times. You're getting an outsized gain. That's the whole deal with increasing returns. You start getting more back than you put in. So, okay, you might be thinking, this is a cool history lesson, but why should I care about some old formula from the 1900s? Well, because this way of thinking is more relevant today than ever. It gives us a really powerful framework for understanding how our economy actually works. So let's just recap. We started with this big puzzle. How did that 70-30 split between what goes to people and what goes to machines stay so stable for so long? The Cobb-Douglas function provided this beautiful, elegant solution. It showed us that if an economy has constant returns to scale, it can grow like crazy without fundamentally changing that balance of power. It might seem simple, but believe me, it is a foundational idea in economics for a very good reason. And that brings us right back to right now. For more than a century, that balance held strong. But the AI we have today, it feels like a totally different beast, doesn't it? It's a technological leap unlike anything we've seen before. And so that leaves us with the billion-dollar question. Is this it? Is AI the thing that finally shatters that historic 70-30 split and permanently shifts the economic balance away from human labor and towards capital? The truth is, nobody knows. The answer isn't in a textbook. It's being written right now, as we speak.